Hi, and welcome to the SJ Childs Show. This is your host, SJ Childs, and today I have a special guest, Wes Tankersley. And Wes is the host of Shaping Your Success. I probably said that wrong. If I did, fix it. Welcome.
Yeah, it's all right. It's shaping success, but that's
there we go. Okay,
pretty
right?
close.
Shaping success. I got two words in there that are right.
Yep.
I just added a little extra.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so glad to have you on today and to chat about your podcast and kind of projects you might be working on. Tell us a little bit about what got you started.
It's kind of an interesting story because I'm 40, so I've had a couple different careers. I worked at Les Schwab, which is an independent tire dealer. Well, they used to be independent. Now they got bought out. So they're a tire dealer here in the Northwest. I live in Idaho. And I worked there for 11 years, changing tires and pretty much doing everything that you could do in that type of place, and got injured, hurt my knee, and decided that the doctor basically said, well, you need to have your knee replaced or you need to go do something different. And even if you have your knee replaced, you're probably going to end up doing something different. So I was like, well, time to make a change. Yeah. So I went back to school and I got a degree in education as a physical education teacher. And I did that for 4 years. And while I was doing that, I got my master's degree in innovation and technology. And right when I got my master's, I had enough. I was like, no, this isn't it. I'm done. Yeah. I'm not going to do this anymore. And so I quit teaching and went back to kind of a sales job. So I sell window coverings during the day. And then I started to kind of try to build that business. And to build that business, I thought, well, I'll start this Facebook persona, so I started this Instagram account and my own Facebook page. And I thought, well, you know what? I was listening to Gary Vee a lot, and he's like, you need to do everything you can to put yourself out there, post on Instagram, post on Facebook, post on LinkedIn, post everywhere. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I started building that, and he's like, well, you should have a podcast. Everyone should have a podcast. And I'm like, yeah, good idea. But then you should also have a vlog. So it was just like, let's throw all this stuff in here. And so I ended up starting this podcast type vlog thing in my garage. And I had, I put out one of those portable tables you buy at Home Depot, sat it down. I had a couple tripods. I had my iPad in front of me with some lapel mics. And the first 5 episodes, that's where it was done. Yeah. And I would upload the videos, do some of my minor, I didn't know how I use iMovie, and I didn't know kind of exactly what I was doing, trying to get it on Instagram and YouTube and put the videos up, in addition to really being discouraged about the way that it took to put the audio on the podcast platform, which was, most podcasters are like, this is too hard. I can't, or most of them really, for me anyway, it was really hard. I couldn't figure it out. I struggled with getting it on there. And then I figured out that it's super simple. So it was a relief. I obviously all I had to do was take the video and drag it into this box, and it stole the audio from the video, and
there you go.
Good to go. So I was doing that, and I thought, well, I'm going to interview realtors because they're a big part of what I do. You make a relationship with a realtor, the client buys a house. There's a lot of building going on right here. They needed some window coverings. Hey, who do you
definitely?
And they'll say, call Wes.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do that. So I did that. And like I said, the first 5 episodes were just kind of interviewing those people. And then I realized that I was learning more from them than just getting, information from them or getting them to use me as a client. And then I realized that I wanted to interview inspiring people, because these people are inspirational. Right? Yeah. And so I started really thinking about it. And when I started, the first 5 episodes was under this Treasure Valley Max Media. We were just like, we're gonna build it this way. And I had a friend offer me a live show. He's like, hey, we have this really cool thing coming up. We could build a set for you. You can kind of virtually do it. It's similar to Zoom, but it's a little different. It's kind of like Zoom on steroids is the way I like to put it. So it has it looks like a TV show, really. And you can change the background. And when I'm talking to you, if I'm talking right now, then it'll zoom to just me. And then you ask me a question, it'll zoom back to you. We'll be side by side. It's kind of really cool.
That's nice.
Yeah. Really just moves you around.
Yeah.
And it just looks like a TV show. It has labels and all that stuff. And so Then we had to think of a name. I thought really like the inspiration for me was I thought back to this question that I had when I was in high school, or not a question, a statement. A friend of my little brother's had said to me at one point, and he had said, he goes, I don't care what you think, I'm going to be twice as successful as you when I grow up. And I'm sitting there going, like, even at, 17, 18 years old, I'm sitting there going, how can you decide that for me?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You can't. And that's the thing. It's like, I think that I thought more about it, and more people, kind of associate success with money.
Yeah.
Nice house, cars, like physical things. And I don't. I never have. I mean, success to me is something that is defined by me, right? And defined by you.
I like that.
Yeah. And so that's why we called it Shaping Success. And so now I interview people and I ask them, I interview them and I talk about how they created what they created, kind of like a blueprint to how they did that.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the very last question is, well, how do you shape your success? What does that look like to you? And so, yeah, it's really fun. I've had probably over 70 interviews. I've done over 100 episodes because I was for a while, I was like doing a follow-up episode. So like I'd interview someone on Monday, and then the follow-up episode would be me talking about what I took away from their interview.
Yeah.
And I've just gotten really busy. So it's kind of like, it's one more thing that I have to do. So it's really nice to be able to just go record the 4 episodes that I do once a month and then just kind of get them uploaded. But it's been fun. It's fun interviewing people. It's nice to, every time there isn't one interview that I haven't done that, like I've gone into some and gone like, well, this might not be that interesting. Mm-hmm. And I try to figure out a way to make it interesting. And the next thing I know, they just say something and I'm just like grinning ear to ear because they've got something, like there's always something good that everyone has to say. So that's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah, I love hearing people's stories, and there's just so many different walks of life, so many different journeys people are taking. And the way they find their own success, like you said, or their struggles or challenges, I mean, maybe something to learn from or something to take away, for other listeners and things. I think it's so valuable. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, a lot of it, like it's kind of selfish, like sort of for me, but also it's not, because like, I feel like I get more than most people do because I get to interview every single person.
Yeah.
And I get to push it out there so other people can hear it. And hopefully, that one person hears it.
Yeah.
And it changes their story for them, because there are a lot of people who know what they want to do, but they're afraid to do it because of the fact that either someone will make fun of them, they'll fail. There's all these different outside factors that stop people from pursuing what they really want to do. And really to me, it's like, I want people to understand that there is people who fail, I've interviewed some people like Mark Simo, who is, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 40. So like when I was in middle school, he had created this brand called No Fear.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah. And everyone wore those shirts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Everyone
I'm 45. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Right. And so they all had them. And so now he has this new brand, and it's a vodka brand. It's called Trust Me Vodka, where they have these really cool bottles that have art in them. It's not just the vodka, right? Vodka's vodka. And he talked about that. Like anyone will buy vodka, but with the art in it, it makes it something different. So every time they start, or like every 3 months or so, they put new art in there.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And so the rep comes to my house and says, hey, we just want to tell you a little bit about the brand. And, they give you a case to, try and all this stuff when you invest in it.
Yeah.
And so they start talking to me about it. And she's like, yeah, it was created by this guy named Mark Simo, who created this brand, No Fear. And like, I was just like, all right. Like, I think he was probably my 26th show.
That's awesome.
I wonder if he would want to do an interview. And, and then that was it's like, he talks about failing. Like, No Fear failed. Right. Yeah. And then he had 2 choices, right? No Fear fails. He tried something. He could either give up, fold, and never try anything again, or create another brand. And then he did. He created Spy Eyewear.
And he's a creator. Like, he had to do that for sure. That's amazing. I love that.
But most people don't realize that, right? They see the, okay, No Fear was this huge thing, but they didn't see all the things that he had to do to make it big. They just saw the end result, which was the big thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, and just like you said in, getting into podcasting, how it was like scary and you didn't know, and you thought it was going to be so hard. And same with writing children's books. When I got to that, like formatting, oh my gosh, there's numbers involved. Like I'm the wordsmith. How can this work? I can't, I give up. I have to trim something, it's like this scary. And then you step into it and you're looking around you going, oh my gosh, this is like kindergarten work here, guys. Like I can do this. This is easy. And it's great because it moves you forward even faster when you get the ease of it. Right. And then you're like, oh, okay, this is great now. But yeah, I completely get that. And it's so important to push people past that one, just take that one little baby step forward, and that scary step, right? It's that scary step forward that is the growth. And then you're like, little
and I like my personal thought on this whole thing, like, because I always compare things to things that I go through in life. And part of me being a teacher was I was a coach. I wanted to make this difference in kids' lives, and I wanted to coach because that was something that was really important to me. My coaches said things to me and molded me into ways, along with my parents, into things that I did. And baseball was always this one, like I was a really good football player. Not really. I mean, I was good enough to get a scholarship, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's really good.
Yeah. I didn't take it, because I thought I was better than what I was, but I was good enough to make that happen. Baseball, not so much. Like my senior year, I made the varsity team. I loved it. But through, the last 18 years or whatever, I was coaching. I started coaching again, and I got back into baseball, and I started looking at the way, and I almost feel like everyone should have to play baseball. Like at least, for a year, because they can realize that there's not success every single time. I mean, you look at it like a successful person in a baseball, like a good batter's 300 batter. That means that they missed 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And so they have to figure out how to be successful with come up the next at bat and wipe that slate clean and start over. And I think that that's a big barrier for people, is they can't wipe the slate.
Definitely.
They bank on what was negative about the whole thing. And instead of saying, well, next time I'm going to sit back, or next time I'm going to move up in the ball, there's all these adjustments that you can make to be successful. And it goes hand in hand with life.
Yeah. Well, and you have a little one in elementary age, and I do too. And so isn't it right now that we should be teaching them like mistakes are wins? Mistakes are good. You learn from your mistakes, you get better, because they beat themselves up so badly when they make a mistake and they want to be perfect and everything. But learning how to accept your mistakes and learn from them, and really having it, pivot or catapult you forward into something that you're great at. Like I was a softball player, so I completely get that. Like you don't catch every ball, you don't hit every ball, you don't run every base. Like there's always something that you could beat yourself up for, right? In a way. And so but as a team, that's another thing too. It made me think that, it also shows how much that you have to work as a team. And even with these things, I mean, you could do it alone. You could do it alone and talk to yourself all day long and talk about your own life and your own stories. But how great is it when you team up and then you have this authentic meeting of minds, with like-minded people, and it's great. It is great.
And that's a big thing. Like, to two of those points, like one other thing that I struggle with my daughter is like, we were just sitting down, she was having breakfast, probably 15 minutes ago, and talking about how she made a mistake and someone's mad at her and no one loves her, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it equates to that. And in my mind, I don't like it still bothers me, but like the magnification at that age is crazy. I don't know how they figure that out. But you try, and that's all you can do. Parenting is funny because, people are like, oh, they're a really good parent. Well, you see what the decision that they made right then and there. Every kid is different. There's no cookie cutter approach to parenting. Sure. I mean, all kids are different. And my daughter is really strong willed. So I don't know why. I think her dad might be the same way.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. That's so funny, huh? No, and it's great to see them taking in their own roles and stuff. In fact, when I was writing children's books, my daughter illustrated her own book as an 8-year-old and we published it. So, what an accomplishment for her to take into the world with her. But then as soon as I started, the podcast, and they're like, "Oh, mom, can we go do a podcast? Can we record a podcast?" And it's just so cute to see them want to be a part of it. And, like I said, my husband's really artistic and he has just these like art skills, and he spray paints and does woodwork and stuff, and the kids want to do that with him. It's like I love that they want, when you live as a good example of what to do, I mean, they want to follow that. So that's such an important thing too. And I guess learning how to, well, I guess teaching them what to do when they make mistakes is by being an example what happens when you make a mistake, right?
Exactly.
And maybe even pulling them aside and being like, look, I made this mistake, and like admitting to them. Because I think that maybe older generations, they weren't as quick to be like admitting if they were wrong or,
Right.
be upfront about those kinds of things. But that's really important. I mean, it really just shows our human, that we're all human and we all are going through this together. And some, I hate for them to be separated so much, like, oh, you're a kid, you have to be this all the time, you have to be this. Like, no, they can have bad moods, like they can be hungry and grouchy, like they're just little humans. They
Right.
just are. Yeah, we have to give them the right guidance and not have so many expectations for them, right?
A lot of times they don't know how to verbalize that, which is the tough part too. Like they're having a feeling or something, but they don't know the proper way to verbalize it, or they don't know what they're really saying.
Definitely.
But it is definitely an interesting dynamic.
Well, and that's why I have done lots of parenting, shows and episodes, because everybody has a different approach. And I think you can get so many ideas and so much stuff from all of these different people that you can talk to about it. And even from different cultures, it's so interesting to hear maybe what another culture would do. We had an incident in our neighborhood and came together and worked it all, resolved everything out. But it was really, I was really grateful for the opportunity to see what their culture, how they kind of took responsibility for what had happened and, came and apologized. It was just, kid stuff, but,
right.
But it's great to see those families who really support their kids and want to help them work through things, because there's the other end of the spectrum where you never see the parents and you always see the kids, and it's like, I'm always out there parenting those kids basically.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Like we do like a live show every Wednesday. I do a live show on Instagram, and we let people come in the room and we talk a little bit. And the conversation was about parents. And I had said something like, I had talked about how I was more of a mama's boy than a daddy's boy when I was growing up. I didn't really have a relationship with my father like I had with my mother until I was older.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, you were allowed to have a relationship with your parents, because in the Asian culture that he was from, it was like, there's these levels and you just don't do that. And I'm just like, it's mind blown. I mean, it's just those things that you don't see, that different cultures do things different ways. And that can be a tough one too, especially in the world that we live in now, where we're surrounded by so many different types of cultures.
Yeah. Very diverse. Yeah. And it's great to teach our kids about that and to not, be afraid of things. The more knowledge, the knowledge is the key right there, because they only face things with fear and confusion if they have no knowledge about things. So the more you can prepare them, the better, right?
Yep.
That's the truth.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. What kind of maybe ideas do you give people that want to get into podcasting things? Do you have like here's my 5 steps on what to do if you want to be a good podcaster?
It's kind of funny because there's kind of an evolution of the way that it goes. And like I was telling you, like I started out in my garage, right?
Yeah.
And then now I'm sitting in my office, and it looks a little bare right now because we sold our house and we're getting ready to move. Mm-hmm. But I have stuff in front of me. I have this microphone. I have all these things that, where it just kind of evolved. I started out with, I think the biggest thing is that most podcasters think that they're going to be famous right off the bat. They're going to monetize it right away. They're going to, whatever. And I'm here to tell you right now, I have not monetized my podcast yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Me
have
neither.
someone doing my show for me, but I'm like, it's going to happen. And I
Yeah.
have faith. That's what keeps me going. But
Exactly.
when they expect that to happen, like within the first 5 episodes, it's not going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I have lots of downloads. I have done almost 100 shows and I'm still going and people are still listening and those people will still be there. But it's not just, here I am, here's my microphone, show up. Some people will say, well, I'm just going to do it on my phone. Like it's a great way to get started, but you have to evolve. You have to work on getting it better. You have to do better audio quality. You need to invest in some equipment. People don't necessarily think that they do. Like I said, I started out with these little lapel mics that cost like $15, which made my sound better than just doing it straight out of a phone. I started to, kind of promote myself.
Yeah. I like how you said that too. You built your audience up beforehand. I did the same thing. And I think that's great. We must have got the same good advice somewhere along.
You had said something about connection to me. And I think that connecting thing is a big thing. Like there is no way, had I not done the things that I did, that I would be talking to you right now or be involved in that conversation.
Yeah.
And, we know some of the same people. We kind of float around in the same circles, but we float around with these people who are really good people and really are wanting to do the same thing that we're doing.
It's exciting.
And if you put out, crappy vibes, then you're going to get
right. Yeah, I guess you're right about that. I mean, that is so true, is that I know for me personally, like I'm excited. I'm ready to do this. I'm like, I love it. I'm looking forward to every conversation that I have because there's always something new to take away. And I just love to, I've always been a talker. That's been my, downfall, superpower, whatever you want to call it. Teachers might have called it my downfall, but I've always been the social butterfly. So I think that being able to take this into this virtual setting and before I started my own and I was just being a guest on other people's podcasts, it was so great. I mean, talking to people in Africa, in the Netherlands, in Canada, just all over the world.
Right.
And these opportunities are great. And I'm hoping as well that the monetization will come out of it, but like you said, I have faith and I'm like putting so much work into it that, I feel like I'm, like you said, I'm so successful because I'm doing this. It's not because I have checks built up in the back. It's, just because I'm like, I am so surprised at the amount of personal growth this podcast has given me personally.
Yeah.
Being a stay-at-home mom with my son with autism for the last 10 years, I definitely lost myself a little bit and was just the mom and was, never like doing my hair, makeup, and never not caring about myself, but literally not caring
spending
about
your
myself.
time caring about someone else more than you can have the time for yourself.
And now he's so much more capable of being able to take care of things, and not that he's on his own anyways, I have the rest of the family, but I just, it's amazing how I can now step into this and be like, okay, this is great. Now I'm kind of back to being an adult again, and going back out and making friends and things like that. So it's wonderful. It's like living a whole side life.
Well, you can tell you're happy. I mean, you can just see that smile. It's just vibrant. And that's, I mean, honestly, that's what it is though, right? I mean, it's about being happy. It really is. If you can go do what you do every single day and you have a smile on your face and I mean, one of my favorite authors, he's not even an author, he's a basketball coach at UCLA, John Wooden, talks about whatever you do, no matter what it is, as long as you did the very best you could and left it all on the table and that you did, then you're successful.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed. And like you said, it doesn't have to have anything to do with finances or anything like that.
Right.
Because there's just so many projects that I've done that have not had anything to do with money that are wildly successful in my eyes. So I love that. Well, I'm so excited and glad that we got to have this conversation today. and to make this connection with you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here so bright and early in the morning.
Oh, no problem. I get up I get up before the sun does usually.
Yeah.
So it's just I go to bed before the sun goes down in Idaho, but
isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to coming onto your show sometime in the future. So I'm really excited we can pick this back up and take off in another direction on yours and really get into it.
It'll be excited. I'm pretty sure we have it on the schedule. So we're good to go.
Yep. We're good to go this time. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you. Before we leave, where can everyone find you? Give us the lowdown on your social medias.
So really, I'm everywhere. You can find me just by searching Wes Tankersley. But the place that I'm most active on is Instagram, and it's actually at Wes, and I'll spell it because my last name's crazy. At Wes, WES Tankersley, TANKERSLEY. And that'll have in my bio, I put the link to the most current show that I have, but it'll send you over to the network that I'm on, and you can watch any episode you want.
Excellent.
You can find me on any platform for the podcast. It's called Shaping Success. I'm doing a little bit of a delay on putting that out because we're trying to get more people to watch the video content.
Oh, yeah.
So we're about a month behind on putting out the audio portion of the show, but the videos go right up as soon as we record them.
Nice.
So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to get to know you more today and to talk about this. And we'll be catching up in the future anyway. So
we'll
talk then.
Awesome.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.